Moroti Adedoyin-Adeyinka is a seasoned business leader with over 3 decades of extensive experience across the petroleum industry value chain. Beyond her professional accomplishments, Moroti is a strong advocate for women's empowerment and diversity in the energy sector. You see diversity coming up again. She actively mentors young professionals. Ladies and gentlemen, the platform Africa, please join me as I welcome our next speaker to the podium. This is Moroti Adedoyin-Adeyinka. Can we give a platform welcome as we invite her to the podium? Please keep clapping until she gets to the podium. You're welcome.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, my fellow speakers. And like Nigerians like to say, all protocols observed. I'm indeed honored to be here today, to be standing in front of you to speak about our topic, entrepreneurship. And I'd like to thank Pastor Poju for the invitation. So a little bit about my background with Pastor Poju. I've known him a long time. We both grew up in Ibadan. We went to the same schools. He and his younger sister and I were classmates and friends. And if there's one thing you need to know about people who grew up in Ibadan, is that we're quite clannish. And I guess it's therefore no surprise that I'm here today, right? And so I'm hoping that I can do justice to the invitation and not disgrace my Ibadan people. So I'm not someone who really likes to speak publicly, but something happened to me a few weeks ago. And it was during one of the games at our International Women's Day celebration in the office. Someone came up to me and she said, "Oh, please, can you sign this that you like public speaking?" So I looked at her and I said, "No, I don't like public speaking." And so she went away. And about 30 seconds later, someone else comes up to me and asks me to sign the same thing. And so I'm thinking, okay, Moroti, you've missed something here. But today I'm going to leave it to you to judge after 30 minutes, whether I like public speaking or I don't. Our topic, entrepreneurship, is one that both speakers before me have done a good job to. They've done justice to speaking about it. And I know that the speakers who come after me will do the same. And so I hope that we can all today find interesting nuggets to take away from each of the presentations. Things that will help shape our career journeys. But I'd like to say this, please, if you are not really finding anything interesting, just try and keep the expression on your face like you are interested. Okay, so now I'm going to give the formal definition of entrepreneurship that I found on Investopedia. And I know that it's possible, we've sort of heard it time and time again, but I'd like to say, please just bear with me because I'm still going to read it anyway, And remember what I said, just try and look interested. So Investopedia says entrepreneurship refers to a system within a company or organization that allows employees to act like entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are self-motivated, proactive, and action-oriented individuals who take the initiative to develop innovative products or services. Unlike entrepreneurs operate within a company's safety net, absorbing any failures or losses. This support encourages creativity and risk-taking, allowing entrepreneurs to innovate without fearing personal financial loss. By leveraging their creativity and ingenuity, entrepreneurs can drive significant innovation and transform their workplaces similar to entrepreneurs. So if you think about that definition, it's sort of like from an organization's perspective. But this morning, I'd like us to look at entrepreneurship from the lens of an individual. So I've given my presentation the title, Leading from Within. So what does entrepreneurship mean to me as an individual? What does it mean to each one of us? How has it shaped my trajectory? How will it shape the trajectory of all of us? What are the things you should pay attention to as an entrepreneur to help shape our career, our future, our destination? So today I'm going to be drawing from my experiences as I've navigated my own career, and hopefully, we can learn a few things from there. And I'll be taking us through 5 principles that will help guide us through our journey as we rise to the top of our careers or organizations. So first, what does entrepreneurship mean to me, Olu Moroti? I like to call myself by my full name. What does entrepreneurship mean to Olu Moroti? Simply put, it means displaying the mindset of a business owner within a business that you do not own. I'll say that again. Displaying the mindset of a business owner within a business that you do not own. It means you're actively working for the success and growth of a business that isn't yours, because somewhere deep inside of you, you recognize that that job isn't just another 30 days make one pay. It's not just another job. You feel a deep sense of responsibility to how well it succeeds or doesn't. And in other words, you own that job, right? In life, I've discovered that everyone has potential. Everyone is passionate about something. Most people are committed and loyal, and everyone has value. But not everyone can be an entrepreneur. So it's important to know who you are and who you are not. And that brings me to my number 1 principle, which I've titled, Know Thyself. You need to understand who you are. What are your values? And what value do you place on yourself? These are 2 different things. One speaks to what's your system of beliefs, whilst the other one speaks to your sense of self-worth, right? And so you need to have a good understanding of both of these about yourself. And sometimes you might have to do a lot of introspection to get that understanding, but if you need to, please do so, because that understanding is very important. And why is it important? It's important because you can only excel if you're true to yourself. To be successful, you need to be clear about who you are and what drives you. What does success look like to you? And what belief systems will guide you towards that success? You need to have a vision for your life. When you know who you are, it's easier to then identify the kind of organization that you can thrive in. And even if you're still not sure of that, you will at least know the kind of organization you cannot thrive in. It doesn't mean that one organization is good and another is bad, or one is better than the other. No, not necessarily. That's not what it means. It just means that you are better able to make an informed decision about where you will thrive. Knowing who you are is like shining a torchlight in the dark to guide your steps. Once you have a good understanding of who you are and what drives you, then my second principle will be like a natural progression. And that principle, number 2, is find alignment. I guess the speaker before me also spoke about alignment. Alignment is important because to truly thrive, you need an environment that allows you to exhibit the best of you, where your creativity can manifest itself. A place where there's some sort of harmony between who you are, where you want to go, the way you see things, and where that organization that you find yourself in wants to go. Now, you cannot find that harmony if you don't know who you want to be. Knowing yourself helps in propelling you towards alignment in a work environment. A place where you're comfortable, but you're not complacent. Where you're not looking for the next job because that next job pays better or it provides more vacation days or something. Finding alignment means that to a large extent you share the same beliefs, cultures, ethos as the organization you're in and the people around you. You have the same vision, or at least you're able to see your own vision as a subset of the bigger vision. And so the moment you stop buying into that wider vision, or that vision becomes confusing or unclear to you, you start to look for something else. I'll talk about myself a little bit. In the first 10 years after graduation, after university, the maximum I stayed in any job was 4 years. You know, the truth is, by year 2.5, I'm already becoming uncomfortable, I'm bored, I'm looking for something else. My attention span was short. I needed a challenge constantly. And I described myself then as having the attention span of a gnat. I just needed a challenge constantly. And so, when I moved to Sahara, I gave myself a 4-year deadline. By year 4, I'll be done here. You know, I'll be ready to go. But here I am today, 23 years and counting. And you know how that was possible? Thank you. It was possible because I was true to myself. Being true to myself helped me recognize and gravitate towards alignment. Sahara gave me the platform to exhibit the best of me. And you know, yeah, I was young and impatient. If he didn't do that for me, I'd have moved. I'd have gone somewhere else. I didn't have the patience to stay with it if it wasn't working. A few years after I got to Sahara, you know, we're all young then. This is 20-something years ago. There was a young lady who, I was her line manager, and she came to me and she said, "Oh, why did you leave your previous job?" Now, that previous job, for a lot of people looking from the outside, and it seemed like a cushy job, you know, dream job. You could travel, exposure, and all of that. So she said, "Why did you leave?" I looked at her, I thought, how will I respond? I said, "Because there was no work to do." She said, "What do you mean there was no work to do?" I said, "You know, all the work I had to do in 1 month, I could do it in 2 weeks." She looked at me. You can guess the next question. She said, "So why did you leave?" I couldn't answer that question at that time. What was the decision that made me leave what someone else considered a cushy job? But today I can answer that question. I was true to myself. I was going somewhere, and that job didn't provide the platform to take me there. Was the place bad? No, of course not. It just meant that there was no alignment between me and that organization. I was confident that I was going to do big things in my life, and that place was not going to provide the platform for me to achieve it. So I go back to principle 1, know thyself. That way, you find purpose and alignment quicker. Okay, so we've done principles 1 and 2. We now know ourselves. We found harmony between who you are, what you are doing Monday to Friday, if you do it Monday to Friday. You've aligned with a vision that you can key into, you know, and you're doing your work quota and putting in the work. So, what should be the next phase? In comes principle 3, be an owner. What do I mean by be an owner? It's a mindset thing, right? We all know that there's a difference between the way owners think and employees think. I think we can agree on that, right? Okay, I'm going to swap owners with entrepreneurs because in all honesty, there are some business owners that have no business owning a business. There's some people that they should just go and get a job. Keep it simple. Running a business is not for everybody. So back to the difference in the mindset. For one, an employee, the focus is on 30 days. For the entrepreneur, the focus is the future. You know, there are some organizations where there are people in that organization, they are able to get an appointment with the boss faster than other people. You know why? Because that boss is looking for a person who is going to help him arrive at the future in time and in the shape, form, and manner that he wants. So whilst we need to work hard, working hard is not enough. Most normal people, and I say normal, at a job, they will work hard if they intend to keep that job. But we need to be different. we have to have the mindset of an entrepreneur. That mindset must be creative. You must be seeking opportunities that sometimes will come looking at like risks. And really, the best opportunities, they wear the covering of risk. But that really shouldn't deter us. Because if we remember that Investopedia definition, it says entrepreneurs operate within a company's safety net, absorbing any failures or losses. This support encourages creativity and risk-taking, allowing entrepreneurs to innovate without fearing personal financial loss. It means you can be an entrepreneur in someone else's business. An entrepreneur, according to Investopedia. And Investopedia says, feel free to lose someone else's money. This is Africa. Let's remember, there's some kind of someone else's money that you will lose, that nobody will tell you that you need to resign from there. It will become personal financial loss to you. Don't even come back to drop your resignation letter. Just be going. Just go, because nobody is going to listen to your Investopedia definition at that time. So, on a more serious note, we need to seek opportunities beyond the ordinary day-to-day. You must add value, right? I'm doing a good job. Good, they say, is the enemy of great. You need to be doing a great job. You need to be great at your job. You need to look for ways to make it more than it is. So I'll give an example. You are a gate man. That's your job. You need to be the gate man that brings a solution to every gatekeeping problem. And then after you finish solving those, you need to go and look for people who have a problem and help them solve their own also. Once again, as a young employee, I was very inquisitive. I wanted to understand what everybody was doing. I stuck my nose where it concerned me, where it did not concern me. I must have been very annoying to some people. And honestly, when I think back, I'm thinking, gosh, Moroti, you need to find those people and apologize to them. So please, if any one of you is listening today, I'm sorry. I apologize. So I like to be in the thick of things. And in the thick of things, not for gossip. Because also, there are people who are everywhere. But value add, zero. But I genuinely wanted to add value, and I said that with all humility. I wasn't thinking consciously of, entrepreneurship. In any case, 2 decades ago, it was not a thing, right? So I was just wired that way. But the other thing is, sometimes you're not necessarily wired in a particular way, right? But you see something that you like, you say, I want to be like this. And you wire yourself that way. You mold yourself to become like that, right? And so I wanted to find a solution. If we were looking for a solution to a problem, you could be sure I'll be there. If we were trying to break boundaries, the adrenaline rush will bring me. People need to know you as a solution provider. They need to think about you when they're looking for a solution. And problems will gravitate towards you because you're known for that, being a solution provider. Will you provide solutions 100% of the time? Definitely not. But quite often you will. And because you demonstrate the open-mindedness, the critical thinking, the sense of responsibility required to move things along, the business will gravitate towards you. So I'll go back to my previous job, the one that I could do the 1 month work in 2 weeks. When the general manager of that establishment, and it wasn't a Nigerian establishment, when he was told that I had resigned, he sent for me. And I had already started my new job. So I found a day where I could take off some time. I went to see him, sat down, he said a lot of things to me. And then he said, there are many people that I would like to see go. You are not one of those people. And for me, that was a confidence booster. He told me that when I was there, I was doing something right? So I needed to continue that way. Being in one place for 2 decades is not a joke. Something kept me here, just as something made them keep me. And it wasn't I'm here on one spot. It was growth and success as the business grew and succeeded. And for me, it has been a most interesting and obviously rewarding journey. So very quickly, I'm going to round up principle 3, and I'm going to say, to keep it going, you must find fulfillment in what you do. And that's why principles 1 and 2 are crucial. You need to avoid complacency at all costs, because you be complacent, you get stuck in a rut. Do not let your good be the enemy of your great. So principle 1, know thyself. 2, find alignment. 3, be an owner. 1 to 3 speak to the individual, who you are, what you want, how you should behave. Principle 4, on the other hand, is not about you. It's about life. And that is, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. The 4th principle, it speaks to, the drudgery of it all, the sometimes dull, irksome, fatiguing work. You are smart, yes. You've aligned with the right people. Yes, you have. You're taking on the responsibilities and attributes of an entrepreneur, but risking somebody else's capital. That's a joke, by the way. Is it working? Yeah, it's taking a while. You need to understand that it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. Life happens. Challenges come. Status changes. But you need to keep keeping on. There'll be points in that journey that will call for a sprint. So what do? You sprint. But the rest of the time, it's a marathon, steady pace. All sorts of temptations will come, You'll see colleagues who will hop, skip, jump from one job to the other, and they seem to be moving ahead. And you might be tempted to do the same. And by all means, maybe you should, if you haven't found yourself or found alignment. But please, you need to find that alignment quickly, so that you can chart a course for your life. Again, that alignment will come with a vision and a strategy that makes you change jobs along a certain path to your destination. But if you're doing so, it has to be with a plan, so that it's not haphazard. You need to resist the temptation to go with the flow just because that's what everybody is doing. You need to resist it, because you're not necessarily going to the same place. Challenges will come, and in fact, sometimes you'll seem as if, this, my life, is nothing but challenges, right? And so that's why it's important for you to have a vision, because that vision is what is going to keep you. Otherwise, first sign of trouble, you will go. Now, to the women, you're going to have to juggle many things. And I'd like to say that as someone who's been there and done that, you can have it all if you're wise. Career, marriage, children, and they will all thrive if you're wise. Like I said, I've been there, done that. And many women have done it before you. So you learn, you read, you look for mentors. Don't try and reinvent the wheel, because it may not be necessary. To everybody now, challenges will come, some will be unexpected. And so we constantly need to be equipping ourselves, upskilling ourselves as we go along. We need to prepare ourselves to deal with unexpected challenges. Whether those challenges are coming as you try to innovate or as you're taking risks, they'll come. So how do you deal with unexpected challenges? Because after all, they're expected. So along your path, you need to read wide, read far and wide, learn all you can, keep an open mind, and hopefully all of these will help you as the challenges come. One other thing to note, never be too proud to ask for assistance. And so I come to the final principle, which is sustained success. Give back, train others, mentor, enable the culture of success, prepare yourself for the next stage. As an entrepreneur, you're not remaining on one spot. Therefore, you're going to need successors so you can move to the next entrepreneurial project. And if you've been exhibiting all of these traits, I dare say that by the time you get to this point, you'll find that there isn't much difference between an entrepreneur and an entrepreneur. So I'm rounding up. I have 6.5 minutes to go. I'd like to say this. There are many stories, just use AI. There are many stories about companies that focused on entrepreneurship and the exponential growth and all of that, that has happened as a result of that. But I want to use a less conventional example. I'll say a road less traveled, and give this example. There was a guy in the Bible. His name was Saul of Tarsus. And this guy, he never met Jesus Christ in the flesh. And in fact, he persecuted the church, the early Christians, after Jesus Christ ascended to heaven. But guess what? The moment he discovered himself and found alignment with Christ's message, you would think that he was there when they said, go into the world and preach the gospel. He owned it. He took it on. He ran with it. And so much so that almost half of the New Testament is attributable to his writings, either directly or indirectly. He took that instruction to preach the gospel, he took it up a notch, he owned it, and he affected the then known world. So what am I saying? I'm saying that in your sphere of influence, whatever that may be, you can be an entrepreneur. And ultimately, if you so desire, an entrepreneur. And now as I round up finally, I can't conclude this without saying something little about Sahara. Obviously, I'm not going to be mentioning numbers, but we've grown the brand to 4 continents, and we're still growing. A lot of our success has come because the core people function as entrepreneurs. And to be a core person, you simply need to be functioning as an entrepreneur. But there's a difference, and that difference is fundamental, between the definition I gave at the beginning and what entrepreneurship means to us at Sahara. For us, we consider every failure as deeply personal, and that is what helps us maintain a sense of responsibility. It stops us from being frivolous in everything that we do. We're intentional, and with us, our entrepreneurs can truly be considered entrepreneurs. And so, I've come to the end of my presentation. I still have 4 minutes to go. I think I'm doing well. I'd like to say a big thank you to everybody for listening to me in the last 20 minutes. But more importantly, I'd like to say thank you for looking interested and obeying my instruction. Thank you, everyone. And I know Pastor Fudge is not here, but I'd like to say thank you to him and the team also. Thank you.